Hey folks, John Mark here with ZPortals. Join with me, CJ at Catalyst Connect. And today we're going to chat about buttons in the ZPortals client portal builder for Zoho. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to take a look at different use cases for configuring buttons that can trigger certain actions, both within the portal as well as back in Zoho itself. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and navigate to a test use case that we have for a CPA firm. And if you can see my screen here, CJ, I'm going to navigate to our tax prep record. I'm going to go ahead and click into the layout builder. And from there, we can see that I'm going to need to go to our record view because I'm going to be placing this button within a record. And we have the ability here to add an element. Adding an element, you can choose the custom button. So let's just chat a little bit about this. So as I mentioned, buttons can be used to trigger certain actions back in the CRM. They do this through a webhook. And if you need help configuring this, please contact our support. We can give you some tips and tricks, or we can certainly refer you over to CJ and the Catalyst team to configure some turnkey solutions for you. Now, buttons, when you trigger a webhook, essentially what it is it's allowing you to affect some sort of change back in the CRM. So it could be updating a field, it could be triggering a custom function, an API call to perform some sort of action. So for our test use case here, we have a typical CPA that may need to request documents for taxes from a client. So in our example here, we have a tax prep record that we can show to the client. And you can see in this case, we are requesting that they upload their W-2, their mortgage statement, education expenses, etc. And we can have the client upload those documents over here to the attachment section in the CRM. Now, once they've uploaded all of the documents, we may want those documents transferred from the CRM to a work drive folder. And you can do that by clicking this button called Submit Docs. When they click this button, a webhook could trigger some actions to do a couple of things. It can move all of these files that are attachments in the CRM to a specific work drive folder. It can also notify the account manager that this client has submitted their docs and that taxes are now ready to be prepared for this client. So there's some pretty interesting use cases in being able to use these webhook builders. So you can choose to display that button in the record view, as I showed over here, where we can have the button within the details. You can choose to place that button in the top right, top left, or bottom right. And that's what this button position is here. You can choose to have this button run in the background, meaning that whenever a user opens that page, essentially that webhook will be triggered, or you can turn it off to have them manually click it, as in this use case where we want them to review that all docs have been submitted and it's ready to push through to the CPA firm. So of course, you can label the button what you want. You can specify your URL, and then you can actually build your parameters in the URL and merge in tokenized values from various records here in the CRM. So you can merge in a contact ID or maybe the account. You can bring in the ID for this particular tax prep record or add your own custom parameters. And then of course, if we select a particular module, we can choose all of the fields to merge into the URL parameters over there. So this becomes a very flexible and powerful tool. And obviously, submitting documents to move files from the CRM to WorkDrive is just one use case. CJ, I know that you guys have come up with a number of cool things. So maybe tell us about some of the more common use cases you've seen for buttons.
Yeah, so I do think the document request and the file transfer is the case that we see in client onboarding, employee onboarding, mortgage and lenders. They need to request a lot of docs from their clients as well. But one of the cooler ones that I've seen be used before is requesting a quote from clients. So one client may want their existing customers to be able to see exclusive deals or exclusive services or products, or they just want an easier way for them to be able to request quotes. So we can, in a product directory, or show a product directory in a portal, and then the client or end customer can go in and click on any of those products and then immediately request a quote that will initiate a custom function in the back end of Zoho to actually generate a quote and notification for their employees to create the quote and then send it back to the customer to review and approve or decline.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think that we actually have a demo available for this. So let me pull up our widget ink here. And this is one of our demo sites that is available at ZPortals.com. So you can actually log in and check this out yourself. Once you logged in as a user, you can see here that we've created a product directory where we're essentially just pulling in a list in a gallery view of all of the products in the CRM. So a client or a portal user can then go in, click into the details of a product, and within this product details page, we can display images. So this little banner over here will cycle through the attachments on the product in the CRM. We can bring in the product details, and then as CJ mentioned here, we can have a button called request a quote. When that's selected, we can have the system automatically create a deal or a quote record back in the CRM, notify that user's account manager that they've requested a quote, and then we can actually generate that quote, display it back in the portal for them to review. So that can be pretty interesting then when you combine that with this running in the background. So oftentimes when we send a quote or proposal to a client, we want to make sure that they've actually received it. So you can actually run a little script in the background here that when they open that quote in the portal, we can trigger a little webhook that will update a date and time field back in the CRM to show that they've actually viewed that particular proposal. And that can allow you to be more proactive in ensuring that your clients are receiving the quotes. You could follow up, make sure that they don't have any questions, etc. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you want to discuss some different use cases for quotes, buttons, document submissions. These buttons can be very flexible in everything from pushing information from the CRM to WorkDrive, to notifying you in the background when certain records have been viewed, to requesting quotes, triggering an invoice to be created, you name it. So thanks so much for joining us on this call. Thanks again, CJ, for joining, and we look forward to chatting to you guys in the future. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Have a good day.